Hello and welcome to Turnbull's Threads, a channel where I talk about all the things I've crafted. So let's address the elephant in the room. It's been a while. I have so many things to show because it has been a hot minute. I'll try and remember to talk about why it's been a hot minute at the end of what is going to be a monster of a video. But needless to say, it's been a hot minute. So, in case you're wondering, or you've forgotten who I am since it's been at least 3 months, I'm Kathy. I am the host of this little lovely channel, and I talk about mostly cross stitch and knitting, and I throw in a couple of other crafts and things that I'm making as I make them. A number of things that I have made will not be at least one thing that I've made will not be shown, and the other one's currently in progress, and I'm missing a piece, so that one's not going to get shown either. But I started doing more of the book nooks, so I have one completed that I think I showed on the channel, one that I finished while I was gone, and that's at work, and then I started another one, but it's kind of in the middle of the process, so I'm not going to disturb the mess over there that is it. So things like that get thrown in as well as my knitting and my cross stitch. So, with that, let's get started with me going through my pile. I'm not going to divide this into whips, fully finished objects, and finished objects. It's going to be as I grab it over here and move it over to the other side because, like I said, there's lots of things. I've done a lot, and I haven't videotaped any of it. So, and I don't necessarily remember what I did and didn't do. So, if there were things that are in here from February or that I haven't touched since the last time I showed them on the channel, sorry, it happened to be in the pile with all of the other things because there were a lot of them. And I don't think I'm missing anything. If I am, there's enough here that it's fine. We'll find out about it at the very end of the year. Cause yeah, I'm not doing a mid-year whip parade because A, I have a ton. This will be close to one. And B, my parents are coming soon, so I need to clean instead of make more of a mess. Such is life. So, with that being said, we're already 3 minutes in, so let's actually get started talking about things that I've done and am doing currently. Okay. So this one is easiest, it's on the floor. Sewing project. This one was a quick, fun, easy sewing project. It's a cotton canvas bag filled with a bunch of rice. So I made a good number of them. The rest of them are over there. So this one I'm keeping for myself, because I am cold and it'd be nice actually to have it in the winter so I can warm it in the microwave and then put it at the bottom of my bed as I'm going to sleep to keep my feet warm because my feet get cold. So it's basically just a tube with rice put in it. I used scrap fabric from stuff that I made for essentially my nieces and nephews for Christmas this year. I think I showed this on the channel, the little drawstring bags. I had leftover fabric. I actually made 10 of these. I'm keeping one. But the rest are actually going for the service project that I did last year that I'm doing again this year. It was requested that we have something to help keep patients, like if we have puppies and kittens and it happens to be a colder snap instead of a warmer snap, that like there's something that'll help heat them up because like, yes, I can give off some body heat, but if they're super cold, it's nicer to have something a little bit warmer to cuddle them in. And also you can throw these in like the freezer and use it as a cooling pad as well. So this is the first one. I eventually will probably show you the other 9, but one thing down. So the next thing that I have here is this project. It's Let Your Light Shine. I did slightly modify it. I added the scripture verse at the top. So this is on a Picture This Plus in Glacier. And I use the DMC that's called for in the pattern. And then all of the specialty floss is stuff that I pulled from Stash. So I could not tell you what it was, what I pulled, but it looks really good. I'm quite happy with how that one turned out. I need to finish it, fully finish it. Another one that I finished is Bat's Winter Brew by Nathaniel Hu. And look at the cute bat with a little coffee mug. Isn't he adorable? So there are snowflakes on here. There's one here. I don't know how well they're showing on camera. But they don't, it's very subtle in person because I went for a lighter background fabric than the black that was shown with the actual pattern. So he's cute, he's done. Another one that I finished was actually a Dimensions kit. Look at these guys, they look so good. So you will notice as I start pulling things that I have a lot of horse patterns that have been started. So this is the year of the horse, and I love horses. Horses are beautiful and I love them, and I have a lot of kits and patterns with horses in them. So I was like, okay, I have all these things. I have the plan starts that I'm going to start. I'll probably start other things as I feel it, but I have like already, 4 plan starts a month essentially, which I'm not finishing nearly enough. My whip count is going to be horrendously big at the end of this year. I should really think about not starting as many things, maybe not planning to start as many things next year. I might still start things, but instead of starting 4 a month, being like, hey, let's only do 2 things a month and work on like finishing some of your other stuff up. We'll see. But in addition to that, I was like, okay, you have a bunch of horse patterns, so feel free to start all of the horse patterns that you want this year because it's the year of the horse. Kind of like next year, I think I'm going to say, hey, start all of the goat patterns you want. You don't have to really do any planning or anything for them. They just go ahead and start them because it's the year. So yes, I started and finished this particular horse pattern. And aren't they cute? It's an old Dimensions kit. I think it's like Horse Pals or something like that. So there's half stitches, full stitches. They use anywhere between 1 and 4 strands for a lot of it. So very much a Dimensions kit, but it looks so good and it was actually quite fun to do. Another one that was finished that I know I showed partly on the last one was this one. Look at it. I finished it. I love the saying on it. Don't rush me. I'm making mistakes as fast as I can because yes, I'm making mistakes as fast as I can. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, let me go ahead and do this. So for those who are interested, that's what my backs look like. So I do carry, but it depends on where it is. This one you won't be able to see the back because I have mostly finished this. It's not fully finished. I'm planning on actually, so I have a piece of wood and I have a number of other pieces that are about this big. So I'm gonna make it magnetic so that I can switch these pieces in and out on that piece of wood and display whatever I want. And I think I'm gonna take it to work because this is a work piece. This is so a work piece. But I did do my first time going ahead and lacing up on this one, and I think it looks pretty good. It did make everything really nice and laced on this, so quite happy. I just need to now have like put in magnets and an actual backing thing so that it'll magnetize to the board like I want it to do. Okay, so that's that. What shall I pull? Ooh, this one. So I have a finished sweater further down, but because I finished my sweater, I restarted a sweater. So I started this last year. It's Petite Knits, I want to say Moby sweater. It's one of her, like, obviously cabled sweaters. So I had started following her instructions. And although I know I'm not the only person with this opinion, it is probably a fairly unpopular opinion within the knitting community. But I hate her pattern style writing. So, this thing here. To start it, following her directions, you cast on a bunch of stitches, then you cut your thread and you start knitting in the middle of what you've cast on. And then you're doing this weird, like, turn and twist thing in order, which, like, because that, I'm having problems completing sentences about how this, that's how frustrated I was with it. It's a really cumbersome way to start a knitting pattern. One, you're cutting thread and then joining it in, so you're adding extra ends that you have to weave in, which is stupid and annoying, and one of the things that most people hate about having to do with their knitting. 2, 3, why would you do that? Like, even if you're going to create a seam across the back, what you do, like that cast on edge that you have, is typically going to be tight, so you're going to end up with puckering all along the back where that seam is, because your stitches are going to be bigger than your your cast on edge. So you're going to have that problem in addition to it. Like, it's just a unelegant and needlessly difficult way to start a knitting pattern. So I got really frustrated with it. Like, by the time I hit about here, I was probably about 10 rows in and I was mad. So mad that I abandoned the project for a couple of months because I was annoyed with it. You can tell I'm slightly still annoyed with it. That the way she wanted you to do it is stupid. Anyways, so I came back to it after completing a different knitting project, which went much better. And I decided, I'm not gonna try and do her way of starting this thing. That's stupid. I'm going to rip out what I've done and do it the way that I think it should be made. So I did it the way that I think it should be made. So I cast on the back, like the center back area that you're going to start knitting, and then I cast on as I'm starting along the edges and not doing the stupid major cast on. And it's turning out great. So far, really happy with the progress that I've made on this. For all that I'm super annoyed with that knitting pattern, it does look really good, and I'm pretty happy with the yarn. Like, it is a bright green yarn, so yes, I'm making another green sweater. This will be the 4th or 5th one, but it's a totally different shade of green, so why not? I like green. I actually really like green. There's so many green projects that I've made so far. I want to get all the shades of green, apparently. So that's my current knitting project, which I've been working on. And speaking of knitting projects, I also have made some more progress on the Cloud Sweater by Kuduva Kika or Veronica Lindberg. So I have finished the bottom part of it. So I just split here for the beginning of, I think, the front. So I'm using a Hobby Lobby yarn. I don't remember which type. I have 3 balls of it. I think it'll be enough. I'm not super impressed with the yarn because if you can't tell here, they cut it and then they didn't even bother to join it kind of in the same area. It was a random join, so you end up with some interesting color variations. I'm okay with that because this is like a sweater. It's not like I'm trying to make it perfect or anything, but if you wanted to have like the specific gradient, so right like here was a cut and a join, and you can tell drastic difference. This to this is actually what the yarn is supposed to be doing. And then here you can see that they cut it again and you're repeating part of the bottom and going into this. So if I actually cared about it, I could have fussy cut some things, I think, and like gotten it to work out a little bit better so that you actually had the gradient of, let's see, this. So that repeating gradient, because it should go like dark brown to light blue to dark blue to light blue to light brown to dark brown, and then back again. Obviously doesn't do that because they did a stupid job of cutting it. It's a really poor yarn. I do not recommend it. But I think it'll make a decent sweater and I'm okay with it. So I have split and now I'm working on knitting up either the front or the back. It's not like I have many more options than that, but one of the two I am currently knitting instead of the whole thing all at once. So that's that knitting project. One of my starts that I did was this chart. So this is Here There Be Dragons by Sprouting Lupine. I love cartography. It is gorgeous. I have a number of maps up in my house as artwork. I have a map that I'm working on in a cross stitch project. I need to get back to it. It's been a while. It's a stamped one. I really like it. I've just been really lazy and not worked on it. I've also gotten distracted by some other projects, just a couple. Anyways, I love cartography. I love old maps, and this is old map-esque to the extreme, and it's only 4 colors. So what I'm doing is I am stitching this on this. This is a Lugana in the color Aslan, and I think my top is here, right? Let's see. Yes. So this is my top, and this is maybe, come on, there we go. So this is the start that I've made on it, not too far, but what I'm doing is I'm holding the called for DMC, one strand of that with a strand of DMC Diamante. Oh, did it come out? It did. So I'm holding it with a strand of Diamante as well. I'm gonna go ahead and re-thread that. And so it will be a glittery map by the time I'm finished with it. So I have color, since it's only 4 colors, that did help a lot in being able to do this, because I can quite easily find a color for all 4. So there's a red, there's a black, silver, and like a copper color. So I definitely have options for all of those in the Diamante, and yeah, that's my itty bitty teeny tiny start. I I need to get back to it. I love it. It's going to be so much fun. Says every cross stitcher about all their projects. I mean, you wouldn't start them unless you had a reason why. Let's see. Still working on baby beanies. I am now on this color. I have a whole bag that I need to finish. So, yay! Once I finish them, I think I'm getting pretty close to needing to go back to the hospital and get some more yarn, which will be fun. My next project is the Heaven and Earth design cell. So I did that last year and I completed it on time, and I got all of the extra charts, which at some point I should start some of those. Because why not add very, very large projects to my whole like rotating thing? Or to my whole long list of projects to work on. Why not? So I signed up for the one for this year, and I'm doing the glistening wings because I wanted to, like, last year's enjoyed doing it, but oh my word, there was so much confetti. So there was only like 40 colors. It was a very low color. I think it had the lowest number of colors of any of them. However, it had so much confetti that I was getting really frustrated with certain parts of it throughout the process. So instead of doing a monochromatic this year, I wanted to do something that was a little bit more bright and color blocky. And this one looked kind of like a Lisa Frank picture. So I figured I would do this one. So I am very, very, very far behind if I'm trying to finish this by the end of the year. We'll see. But I've been making some really good progress this week, except for one of the yellows and two of the oranges. Pretty much all of that was put in this week, over the last week. So yeah, working on it. And I will say it is a much nicer stitching experience in terms of like not being quite as confetti heavy. You do have more blocks of color, which is a really nice change from last year's. Because that was not as fun as you would think it is. Let's see. The next one that I have that I started is my work project. So I will show you my finished work project, but my new work project is Purple Chick by Jim Shore. Okay, come on. We just don't want to focus, is that it today? How annoying. Ooh, needle. So, come on. Go all the way in. Nope. Okay, so, maybe there. So, cute purple chick. I have a very, very small start because this is my work only project, but it's a good enough start that you can start to see the outline of the head and the body. I don't anticipate this one being done anytime soon. I mean, I could surprise myself, but I have no plans, but that's typical of pretty much all my stitching. No plans. We'll see. Things will happen. I will either get it done or I won't. Well, I will eventually get it done, I should say. It just may take a very long time for me to get it done. So, that's my work project, and here is the project that I just finished. This one is the Autumn Harvest Collection. And it is, I think it's Hootie. Yes, Hootie. So this is my finished project. Maybe Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Ooh, my. Nope. Man, it like doesn't even want to focus when it's like right beside me. Look at that. So this is Hootie. This is a little owl. I will fully finish it at some point. It was a fun stitch. So that is that. Let's pull these guys since it's right here. Along with all my other things. So the next one that I have is Evanora. Evanora is one of my Nora Corbetts. And I've gotten a good chunk of her done. So we've got all of the stitching up here done, and I moved my hoop and I'm starting to stitch down at the bottom. So I have more black and then some of that variegated, and I should soonish be finished with her, and then I get to beat her, well, backstitch and beat her. So that's fun. This one I like to work on at my local needle workshop because they have excellent lighting. It's really, really nice. The other project that I have in here that is a new start, I believe, is this one, the Steady Thread Cyclic Seasons Sal. So this is my blackwork project. Since I do like blackwork, I like blackwork a lot. And that's what I've gotten done. I'm about a quarter of the way done. Maybe if it will. There we go. Are you focusing? Where are you focusing? There we go. That's relatively in focus. So I had the outlines of all of the 4-season blocks done, and I started the blackwork on this corner up here. So I have blackwork to finish in all of these background areas as well. I'm using, let's see what it is. This is the Fancy Fairy Spring Opal by Oak Crown Studios that I'm using as my background for it. And it's gorgeous, and I love blackwork. Even if it's not in black, this is in purple. Purple on purple. I had originally thought that I was going to do some variegated threads in the blackwork side of things, so doing like the dark purple as the outline and then variegated in the middle. But the one that I thought I was gonna do just kind of blended in with my background fabric. So I decided that no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna go and just do it all in the dark purple. It is a really pretty purple. It's DMC 550. So, gorgeous purple. Love that project. Done talking about it. This project I'm gonna save to the very end because it's amazing and I love it. And it needs to be an end project. Let's see. Oh, here's one of my horse starts. So I started, so I have this kit from Designworks, I want to say. Yes, Designworks. It's Splashdown. So that's what it'll look like finished. Obviously a horse pattern, so Year of the Horse. I get free starts on all of my Year of the Horse. So all of my starts are like a thread each. Well, unless of course I finished it. So using kit fabric, kit floss. That's my itty bitty teeny tiny start. So we have got quite a ways to go. but it is begun. Which is better than what it was, I don't know, 6 months ago, right? Because then it was just a project sitting in my closet. That's part of the reason also why I've been doing all this starts, because it's like, why buy the things? Why have it and then not start it? Like, can't ever finish it if you never start it. So this one is actually the project, one of my planned starts for June. So this is another Design Works. This is corset dress. And do I have... this is Carol Robinson who did this pattern. And then the splash down was Victoria Schultz. So Victoria Schultz designed this one. Carol Robinson designed the corset dress. And I have a very, very short, small start on it. But there. So on all of my kit patterns, I'll typically do a center start because I'm using kit fabric. And I don't feel the need to really try and save any of the fabric after. All of it can be used for framing it. It's already cut. It's not like I'm cutting it and I would like to save my fabric. It's provided for me, so we don't bother doing that. Another one of my planned starts was this guy. So this is a Cooler Classic Charts Blue Works designed by Sandy Orton. So this is my under 100. This is a smaller design and I have a small start on it. This one I'm actually doing on 11 count. I'm doing it in the called for DMCs, but because it's 11 count, I'm doing it 3/1. So 3 threads or 3 strands of DMC over 1 square on the Aida. And I think that'll give me some pretty good coverage for this particular project. So that was my small start for June. This is June. Yes, small start for June. In addition to my small start, I had a big paper chart start. So my big paper chart start was this one. This is Bella Filipina design, the Au Naturel collection, and I'm doing Magnolia because I really do like magnolias. They're beautiful, and we had some where I was working down in Louisiana on campus, and like late spring, early summer, they would have these huge blossoms. They smelled really good too, but the huge blossoms and like the whole tree would all be white. It was gorgeous. So I am doing this design on a 14 count Aida. Dyed by Banana Oil, and this is the fabric, which is gorgeous. Love the fabric. Beautiful background, and so my start is down here. Can you see it? Yeah. So there's the beginning of my start. It's kind of the brown edge of one of the leaves that's in shadow. So I figured that this actually kind of looks like the background of leaves. So it would be very appropriate for that to go right on top of it. So yes, I have a number of pieces of banana oil cloth or banana oil fabric, and they all are going to get they're all going to get used and loved because they're gorgeous and they really, really, really make me happy. So that is my big project for June. Another one of my horse starts here is this one. This is a Sunset from Dimensions kit called Mother and Colt. This one I just started, and I have a very small start. I will say, when I started in my typical manner in the center start, right? There's my center. Like, this is almost square, but it is not square. It is a rectangle. So the design is wider in one direction than the other direction. Specifically, it is wider than it is tall. I did not necessarily start it right. So I got, I don't know, probably 10, 12 in, and then I was like, hey, wait a second. This isn't quite a square. Since this is not quite a square, I should probably check and make sure that I have it and I'm starting to stitch it in the right orientation. Nope. Did not. Needed to restart it. So I had to unpick or tink back. Well, it's not tinking in. I had to frog back. There we go. It is frogging in both knitting and cross stitch, but it's only tinking in knitting where you're going back one stitch at a time. So sometimes I get those confused. But I had to go back and take out all of the stitches that I had already done so that I could do them in the right direction, so that it would actually match the direction of the final pattern. And yes, it would have fit on it the other way. It isn't that far off, but your margins once again would be kind of skimpy. So that is Mother and Colt. One of my many, many starts. Speaking of starts, here's another one. This is another horse one. This one is a dimensions counted cross stitch called the Wave. Which, look at all those horses coming out of the wave. Isn't that so cool? Oof. Love them. This is by Jim Warren. What one was this one? Verdale Forget is the designer of the Mother and Colt. So Jim Warren is for the Wave, and I have a very small start, and it looks almost exactly like the background fabric, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It is right there. This here is actually stitched. I don't know if you're able to tell that or not. If you can't, don't worry. It's really hard to see in person as well because it's almost the same color as the background fabric. It's fine. We're cool with that. Let's see. Well, we're close to finishing one of my stacks. So the next one that I worked on the next one that I have here is one of my Mirabilia. So I've begun March, April, May, and obviously part of June, because I'm showing you June stitching starting out. So it's halfway through June. Hopefully I will remember to update again. Well, I would like to also update again, like finish out June, giving an update in early July. Will I do that? That's a different question. But I would like to do that and kind of get that done, because I know I'm not going to update again until mid-August, because I'm going to have some things going on that will not let me film until sometime in mid-August. So the whole reason why I'm talking about that is because May, I do Mira May. So I have more than, I have at least 31 Mirabilia projects, or things that I consider Mirabilia projects. So things I consider Mirabilia projects are all of the Mirabilias, any of the free patterns on the Mirabilia site, as well as any of the Patreon exclusive patterns. So, in part, because there's only one Mirabilia released every other month compared to the do Nora Corbetts that are released every other month. So like Nora Corbett designs already have an edge up. There's more of them. I want to stitch more of them already. So when I'm doing Mira May and I'm doing one for every day of May and Nora November, so Nora Corbett designs get done in November, I already have way more Nora Corbetts that I want to stitch than I have Mirabilias that I want to stitch, just based off of the numbers and how they're released. Anyways, that being said, this is one of her Patreon patterns. This is called the Secret Garden. And I am stitching it with the called for threads on a 30 count mink linen in 1/1, which, let me say, is very interesting. It is going to make a very, very, very small project. Come on. Man, my focus today is kind of all over the place. Anyways, so it will make for a very, very small project, as you can see by how much I have finished. That is all of it, and that's a good chunk of some of that page. Like, not a super big chunk, but that is a chunk of some of the pages. But since it's 1/1, it is super tiny. Look at how small it will be. There are a couple of beads. There aren't a ton of beads with this one. I think it only calls for 2 beads. Yeah, it only calls for 2 beads. So I'm probably going to substitute those in for Kreinik. Would be my guess. Kreinik or some type of like sparkly thread. And do that instead of the actual beads, because beads will definitely not fit on this. There's no beads that are small enough to fit over one thread of 30 count. But I do have it started, and I made some progress. Let me talk about it. So what I added in was the dark color. So this is the 3rd year I've done it. So the first year I added the pink when I started it. The second year I added the green around the sides, and then this year I added this dark part in. So making some progress, getting things done. And speaking of Mira May, this is all of the cherubs that she has as free patterns on her website on one piece of cloth, because that's how I decided to do it. So this is I think it's a 1/2 yard of something. I don't know what it is. I got this on a stash debut, or someone was selling off stash, and it happened to be in a group of fabrics, so I got it there. So I put all 5 of them together. I'm doing edits for a number of them because most of them were all the same height and width except for like 2. So those 2 are getting edited so that they will be the same height and width as the other ones because they were taller. And I've just been slowly adding in. So this counts as 10 of my Mira Mace. So we've got that project, which I added, I think, this black in, this one down here. What did I add in? I think I added in the black that's currently covered by the hoop. This one here, added that black in that corner. Well, sorry, this one here in the center. I added in the wing part on that one. This one I added in black. That one I added in black. Guess what? More black. Even more black. This one right here, underneath the one where I added in the wing, I also added in more wing in a white color, so it's really hard to see. These 2 I think I added in black. So I did a lot of black stitching, but I got some progress to them, because I'm not stitching them any other time except for Mira May. So for 3 sessions, not bad project, because I'm only putting in 1 thread at a time. So I do it and then I stitch on other things. At some point, that will probably become a focus, and then I will get much more dramatic progress at that point. But that day has not yet come, so such is life. Ooh. I don't know if this was a May start or a March start or an April start. It was one of those starts. But here's my kit for one of my earlier months. The project that I'm stitching is When the Sun Goes Down. It's a project by RTO by Maria Semenova. So it's a really nice, it really reminds me of the Bayou and when I was on Jekyll Island in Georgia. So I have a very small start on it, but I really do like that design. It's very pretty. Reminds me of my time in Louisiana, which I recently visited again. So yeah, magnolias, When the Sun Goes Down. We've been having a Louisiana Bayou moment in this household. One of the other projects that I put a little bit of work into was this DMC cross stitch kit. So this is designed by Nathalie White. I'm guessing it's German, so I'm thinking it's Wein-Zäpflen. Nathalie Wein-Zäpflen, but nope, she's French. So I have no idea how to say her name, because it looks like it would be German, but she is French. So maybe someone else will know how to say her name. This is the Lavender Bouquet by DMC, and I just put in a little bit of the start of that bouquet. And I am missing a needle. I'll have to find it again. Yep. One of my horse starts. This one is a sunset kit. It's a no count cross stitch. The artwork is A Gracious Era by Alan Maley. I've seen other people do this picture, I guess. But they were doing counted cross stitch, and this is not counted cross stitch. So this is where they've gone ahead and they've printed the majority of it. So you're just kind of adding a little color or adding some stitches to help fill out the picture, right? So I stitch some of the snow on the umbrella. I'll get to stitch some of the, all of the things that are white that should have color. That's what I get to stitch. So I get to stitch people, I get to stitch a little bit of the building, a little bit of the coach, and a little bit on the horses. Hence why I started it. But it's not nearly as intense as some of my other projects are, as you've no doubt gathered. So that's that. I've got a series here of horse starts, so be warned if you don't like horses, this episode is not for you, because this is horse heavy. This one is a kit by Letty Stitch. This is called Together We Are Magic, and it's designed by Jody Bergsma. And isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love the two horsies together. They're so pretty. Well, horsies, unicorns They are unicorns. There are actually horns in this design. I count those as horses, they count. So, I of course have a very small start because even though I'm starting all of these things, I'm only putting in like a thread because I have other projects that are my focus. So, teeny tiny little start, but it is started. And I have to say that these kits are generally really nicely put together. I haven't stitched an entire one, so I can't say too much about all the directions. But at least how they're put together is really nice. It's really pretty, and it's nice how they have their needles put in and etc. Okay, so that's that kit. My next horse start is a Reolist kit. This one is this one. So this is White Mane and Roses. This is artwork by Alexandra Gusarova. And that is my very small start. So, one thread in, and I still really enjoy Reolist kits. I think they are typically wonderful to work with. I need to actually finish more of them. I have finished some, but so that is one of my horse starts. Another one of my horse starts is this guy. So this is a Designworks kit. It's Winds of Thunder, and the designer is Marcia Baldwin. And I have a very small white start, so I doubt if you can see it, but here is where that start is. There's a little bit of white stitching in the center because that was the color that I pulled. I think that this ends up being almost a full coverage. It's very close to being a full coverage. Ooh, I don't. Huh. Wow. Like, that shouldn't stay there. I found the floss. I need to put it back in my master set. Anyways, so one of my small starts was this one. This is Bioluminescence Fiber Arts, and it is Counting is Hard. And I agree, counting is hard. So I am doing it on with the called for DMC, and this is on, I believe, White Pine by Fabric Flare. I just have a small start on the scissors. This might have been March's small. Or maybe that was April's small, because this one also is one of my smalls. I'm not going to show you it because it's the actual pattern, but I started Winter Songbird by Nath Nalu. She's also the designer who did Bat's Brew that I finished, and I just have a teeny tiny, itsy bitsy teeny tiny little start on the Winter Songbird for her. And look at that, I have another bobbin that needs to go back in my master set because I did that. Yes, I did. Ooh, I have another no count cross stitch that I started for the horsies. This one is a Dimensions kit. This is the Victorian Carousel by Barbara Mark. And this is really cute, sweet little one. I did find, so this one had not been opened. I opened it, but The needles had rusted, so happily they were on the edges, but yeah, you've got some rust marks that were made there. And I added in the leaves. So, decorated a little bit. This one will be an interesting one to do. We'll see what I do with it. Excuse me. Okay. So I have a piece in here, and I have thread. Oh, I know which one this is. I have the pattern? Yes, there's my pattern. So I started Dragon Reading Book. This is one of my downloaded charts. So that's the mock-up of the pages. So I didn't print the actual big picture, I think, on this one. Unless I did and I don't know where it is. That is always a possibility. But it says, if my book is open, your mouth should be shut. Which, to be fair, I feel sometimes, yes. If my book is open, don't talk to me. I want to bask in the story. I don't necessarily really want to hear you. So I am doing it on a Fiber on a Whim with the called for DMCs. It's the color Raspberry on a 20 count, so it'll be smaller. And that right there is my very small start. So I have the I started on the F. And hopefully I did it in the right directions. But we'll find out. Kind of sucked if I didn't. Let me put that, though, with the actual pattern so that it doesn't wander off. The next one that I have is one of the kits that I started for one of my planned kit starts. So this one is Autumn Treasures. It is by Tila Artiste, and I don't know if there's more information about the artist or not, but this one has a lot of specialty stitches and different stitching techniques. So I really wanted to start it for that. I think there's some pulled threads. There's like Algerian eyelet. Are there Algerian eyelets? I think there might be Algerian eyelets. There's a number of like different crosses in addition to the cross stitch, as well as black work. And so I started in the center because I don't think they gave me a bunch of extra room on this fabric, but I did get a start on the black work, and I love black work. So that was my start there on that guy. I have one of 4 of those grapes finished. And the kit that it came with, you can see there's some really nice hand-dyed thread that's incorporated in here with like a lot of beads and treasures. So I'm very happy with this kit so far. So there's that start. My next one that we have is this pattern by Puntini. It's called the Cross Stitch City Map, and that's what that one looks like. And I have a small start. I'm stitching it on a piece of Fiber on the Whim, Silver Fox, 28 Cashel linen. Because the color matched for me there. So I just have a little bit of the C. And that's what we have started. I might do that. So the next thing that I'm gonna pull is we're gonna go through those. Remember I talked about those 9 sewing things? Well, I can finally see the bag, so let's go ahead and do a quick. So I did it in this color, that color again. I have some in like this denim one. I have another mushroom, and then the cutest one that I had that really works for what they're going to use for is this one. So I have 9 of them. And I need to figure out how I'm going to carry them. Because so in order to do this project, I knew I was going to use scrap fabric that I had around the house, because I have not just scrap fabric, but I have a ton of fabric around here anyways, because I am a serial crafter. Therefore, I buy all the things, right? Which one should probably not do, but I do it anyways, because why not? So I have a ton of fabric stashed. I need to use some of the fabric, but I have a ton of fabric stashed. So I was like, I'm not going to buy any fabric for this, but I do need rice to fill it, because I don't have a ton of rice. I am one person. I don't have enough rice in my apartment for myself that would fill multiple of these. So went to Sam's and got a 25-pound bag, and then filled up a container of rice for me, because I'm not super low, but I'm running lowish on rice. So I now have replacement rice. Yay. But that probably means that I use 20 plus pounds in order to fill all of that. So they do not, the plastic bag that I have originally put them in, it's not going to keep them very well. So I need to find an alternate carrying solution so that it will work out. So that's those. They are great. I'm happy with them, and we'll be taking them with me. Oh, let's pull 2 projects here. Okay, so the next project that I have is this Jim Shore one. This is a Mill Hill kit called Santa with the Lantern. That's the start that I have of Santa with the Lantern. So I have the bottom of Santa and part of the red of his coat. Not a huge start, but respectable. The next one that I have was giving me fits last night. I had to rip out and restart a number of times, and I realized that I'd made a mistake at the end of the night and was like, yep, no, not doing anything else with it. So this is Beautiful Mermaid. This is one of my digital patterns that I got, and I'm doing it on Atomic Ranch Fabrics, the color LE141141. It's a really pretty gorgeous 32 count linen that I thought would contrast really well with the colors that I have. It feels like it's smaller than a 32 count linen, but that is my small start at the bottom there, and I need to rip some of it out already again. Yay! I don't want to. I don't want to. So it's probably on hold for now. Like, I started it. I did the thing that I needed to do for the month of June. It started. I'm mad at it because I've already ripped out once a number of stitches, and now I've got to rip out more stitches again. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going to come back to that for a little while. Put it in timeout because it was bad and naughty. Let's see. Here is one of my horse starts. Remember, I did count unicorns. So I started this realist kit called Unicorn Tier. And do I have an artist on here? I don't have anything immediately visible. So, this is the Unicorn Tier. And that is the start of the Unicorn Tier. So, pretty small start. Lots of small starts, but they're starts, right? So that's that project. One of my other projects that I was going to start was this. This is a Stony Creek collection. How great thou art. So it's a really pretty scene with a lot of the words for how great, the words for how great thou art, the first 4 verses in the chorus. Might be all 4 verses in the chorus. And this is my start. A very, very small start. But I have the word great started. And this is being stitched on a 28 count Lugana in the color Sky. So it's very pretty. You do not run away. That's one of my teacups. The next one that I started, this one I realistically shouldn't take me that long once I actually start it. But I'm doing the map of Iowa because guess where I am? Iowa. Guess what I should make a map of? Iowa. I actually want to do maps of all of the states that I've lived in. Because I feel like that's a fitting tribute to them. So, North Carolina, Michigan, Iowa, Louisiana. Those are the 4 that I have thus far. We'll see if I add more as I age gracefully and continue in my career. But so far, those are the 4. And this is what I've got outlined of Iowa. So, a nice start to Iowa. Once I finish Iowa, I don't know, I might go for... I feel like I should do North Carolina next. So this is my current state, so it makes sense that I do it first. And then I think my birth state should go next. The one where I spent my formative years. My home away from home. So, North Carolina I think I'll do next. The next thing that I have is actually a pattern from a book. This pattern is... Let me see if I can find it. Find the picture for the pattern. No, not those. Come on. Yes. So there's a pattern that's called the 3 coffee cups, and that is the picture that they have for it. But it's a book called 8 Color Cross Stitch, so they only use 8 colors in all of their designs. So 8 colors. And I started, this is also on an 11 count, so I'm doing it even though it's on 11 count. Is this 11 count? I don't know. This is 14 or 11 count. It's fairly big. I'm doing, I think it must be 11 count. So I did get like a sale when Walmart was trying to get rid of a bunch of their 11 count. They had them all for like 50 cents per roll. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take all of those. So I stocked up and I had like 10 rolls. So trying to use some of the 11 account. Trying to use some of the 11 account Ada that I have because I have a lot of it. Needless to say, a number of projects are going on 11 count Ada. So I think this one is an 11 count Ada because I think this is a 3 strands over 1. And I've just started the outline of one of the teacups. So I have 2 other teacups to work on after that one. Let's see. Oh, this project. So I am working on Shooting Star. This is an Ink Circles design. I'm actually doing the smaller one for the bonus design. So if you enjoy sewing the Stitchery with Charlie Nebby, she's doing a community project where she asked everyone or people in her that watch her channel that are in her community if they would send her a piece of embroidery that she can put into a large patchwork project. So they're mailing them to her. I have a number of things so I want to definitely include a cross stitch. She gave so excited I'm running out of words. Okay, so you could do a 2-inch square or a 4-inch square. Those are the 2 sizes plus margins that she asked that people send. I am doing a cross stitch one because I enjoy cross stitch and I want to make sure that that comes in, and I want to kind of pair, right? So she'll have the smaller design because that is supposed to be a 4-inch based off of my fabric and size count. So that one should be a 4-inch square of cross stitch. It's not embroidery, but stitch work, needlework. And then I'm going to keep this larger design. So like a little piece of me will go to her and then I get to keep a piece. Yay. And I'm doing it with a silky thread because those are really nice. I like being able to stitch 1 over 2 on all of these. This is what I have so far stitched up of that bonus design. I do want to finish this. I also would like, not necessarily, I'm not going to say plan, but I would like to do some exploration of a variety of different stitches. So do more than just cross stitch. Start going into like some of the embroidery. Stump work I think would be so much fun to do. Painted thread, punch needle. Like I think this would be a good way for me to dip my foot in the door just a little bit, right? So I can do like a 2-inch square because that's teeny tiny and try the thing. I also think I want to give her some black work as well. So like try all kinds of embroidery techniques and send them to her that she can then incorporate. And I think that would be kind of fun. And it will make sure that like I actually try the things that I want to try. So that is that project. My next project here is one of the kits that I started. I don't know if this is one that I started in January because it was in my pile. But this is an Abris Art Start. This one is called Bird of Paradise. And I don't have a artist for it, but that's it. And I have a very small start. So I started out with blending threads. Yay! So, quick and easy start. It's very pretty. I would like to get back to it. Oh, how many times am I going to say that during this? Like, I still have so many projects to go through. There are a minimum of 30 projects, and I know there are more than that I still have yet to show you. So, yes, long haul here, people. The next one that I have is a design by Butternut Road. It is called Once Upon a Time. This is a Marion Levitt emblem, so Nora Corbett's mother. And I am actually doing this on the called for fabric with the called for threads. I know, very unusual for me, but I think it works out nicely. So did I do a center start? I think I did a center start on this one because I wanted to give myself a bunch of room for it. So my teeny tiny start in the center of the fabric. So this has been on my to start list for a very long time. And like I've had the fabric for a very long time and the pattern for a very long, well, okay. So by very long time, that means at this point probably 2 to 3 years. So it's not the worst, but I finally started it. It's like I had it kitted up. I wanted to do it. I just never got around to starting it. So I was like, start it. Start the thing. Do it. The next pattern I have here is by Counting Puddles. Counting Puddles. This is Bubble Seahorse using the Beneath the Waves stitch color palette. I love this palette. I have gotten as many of the pattern, a large number of the patterns. This is a Cottage Garden Threads Beneath the Waves palette. I have multiple of this palette because I love it so much because it is a gorgeous palette. And I am stitching this on Ocean Blue by Fiber on a Whim. This is a 36 count Edinburgh linen. And I have an itty bitty little start right here. So, started with the variegated threads. I love this. I love all of these patterns. I have a bunch of blue fabrics. I'm gonna have so much fun stitching all of these. As many of them as I can. And then when I'm done stitching as many of them as I can, I'm hoping that I can stitch all of them. But if I can't, I will be okay, fine. But once I am done stitching as many of them or all of them, I will have so much fun with this palette just because I love those colors. The purple and the blue and the green. Those are some of my more favorite colors. And then that red, like that orange red. Whew. It's such a good palette. I like it so much. I am looking forward to like actually working on that more. This one, I don't know if I worked on it since the last time, but if you didn't see, or I haven't shown it, this is a partial finish. So I'm halfway finished with the Sweetheart Tree, Keep Calm, and Freak Out fob. So I finished the stitching for the Keep Calm and Carry On part of it. I did this on an Aida. That is not the right choice. If you would like to stitch this pattern, it's a really cute pattern. I think you would probably enjoy it. When you decide to stitch it, it's a lot of black work. There's a little bit of 1/1 stitching, but the majority of this is going to be like backstitch. So if you don't like backstitch, don't stitch this pattern. So backstitch and a little bit of beadwork and a little bit of 1/1 cross stitch. When you choose to do this pattern, do not use Aida. Let me repeat. Do not use Aida. I used Aida. Guess what? Not the greatest choice. So I can do it. I've done it. The other piece that I'm going to stitch it on is also Aida because it would be kind of weird to do one side on Aida and the other side on a linen. It would look weird and be less than ideal, but slight struggles on it. Oh, and this is one of my few project bags that I have that I'm actually using this time. So this is by who did this one? I think it's not Fiber on a Whim. So they do. I'm blanking, but this is from the Hobbit Advent, well, Boxing Day box. So this is the bag that I got either this year or last year. And it comes with a fun zipper pull with a eagle on it, and that's where that project is kept. On with me. Let's see. This I'm pretty sure was last. I think this was February, so I'm not going to show this one. I haven't worked on it since then. Pretty sure I haven't worked on that. I'm pretty sure. Look at that. Another color that I should. Man. Okay. So I'm finding all kinds of like bobbins. I've been not putting them back like I should. Bad Kathy. Okay. Well, I have thread that will then go here. There. So this is the start of one of my Heaven and Earth designs. This one is Night Portal. The artwork is by Yasu Art Studio. Very pretty. I'm doing it on a 20 count, easy count grid, and I just have a teeny tiny little start on it. So that's that. This one is Fawns, and I know I did this one prior. This one last year, or last time I updated everyone, so I'm not gonna throw that one out. I can't remember. I think I also showed the Lazy Tribute. The Trouble with Doing Nothing. So I'm not gonna show that one again because I'm pretty sure that I showed it before. It was in my stack of possible stuff, and I know I didn't work on that, so that's not an issue. And then this one, that's To Be Started. So To Be Started. Okay, so the rest of that stack I'm not going to talk about, because we're not going to talk about what I need to start, because we're already at almost an hour and a half and I still have a lot of projects left. This is going to be long. Hopefully my battery lasts. Oh, here it is, Forbidden Fiber Co. So the bag is from Forbidden Fiber Co. Yay. I knew these things. I am stitching Be a Mystery by Forbidden Fiber Co. This pattern, and I have their palette to go with it, and I am stitching it on a piece of Picture This Plus 18 count jade. So there's my itty bitty teeny tiny start. Be a Mystery, and that one will be a fun one to do. That was a surprise start. It ambushed me. It called my name and I had to start it. The next one that I have here, I think it's 2 of them are on the same piece of fabric. So I'm doing ink circles. This is Reflections of New Orleans, because like I said, Bayou Moment, having one of those. I am stitching this spot with a Pirate and Robin's color called Joker, which is, let me open it, this. So, not quite totally New Orleans, right? I need a little yellow, but pretty close. So I am stitching that on here, and I am also stitching Peacock by Cottage Garden Samplings, Peacock Pin Cushion. And I'm using the called for colors for this one. And I'm doing both of these on the Grace Notes fabric. It's a linen 28 count. And here's my start on the Reflections of New Orleans. And here's my start on the pincushion. So, very teeny tiny starts, but they're both there. So, one of those was my under 100, and I think one of those is my over 100 start. They'll both be fairly small, but it'll be fun. So, those guys. I have another horse start. So this is an RTO design. This was made by Ekaterina Kostyova. And interesting. It is called Freedom and Beauty. So, a horse on red. And what did I start? Just a little bit of it. So that is my start for that one. Did I actually start that? I think I did. It's in my stack. Oh, I did start it. Okay, good. So I have a Gold Collections Petite by Dimensions. This one is Equine Pair. I think the other one might be Horse and Pals. The one that I finished. And I had a very small center start. So there we go. Another start because it's horse pattern. And it is the year of the horse. I don't know how many of these I will finish this year. It's a different question. It'd be nice to finish more than one, but I did finish one, so I have achieved optimal results for the year of the horse. The next one that I have is another digital pattern. This one is the Fire Mermaid. So I have Beautiful Mermaid and Fire Mermaid. And I am stitching this one on Grace Notes Serenity. It's a linen 28 count, and that is my teeny tiny start on her. So, got Fire Mermaid. And then, before I start, the rest of the Mirror Beauty is from Mirror May. This kit, it's a Lenart Fantasy Elf Fairy. And I, of course, have a very small start for it. So much. It's a really nice kit, but with a very big piece of linen. With a very small start on that very big piece of linen. I think this must be like a witch elk linen because it is very see-through, like most of the witch elks are. If you can't tell, unless it comes with it, most of the time I'm choosing hand-dyed, or yeah, hand-dyed fabrics because I think they're gorgeous. It's also nice that most of them do kind of shrink up the fabric so that it's a little bit closer and it's not quite as see-through. But because I like to carry, carrying is fun. Oh, those stupid swallows! Why are they out? Okay. I had a problem with swallows last year, and they were nesting in my area, and then they started dive bombing me every time that I went outside. So, I just saw one in my area, in my, like, underneath the porch in my deck area. So, I hope they're not building another nest, because if they are, I will probably let maintenance know and say, hey, can you get rid of this? Because I prefer not to be dive bombed whenever I am on my deck. Shocker, I know. I'm setting a very high bar here, but I don't like being dive bombed. Because I don't like being dive bombed. I don't want them to be around me. I don't want them nesting there. So we're gonna start going through all of the Mira May starts that I had. So the first continuations. So Autumn Queen. This one is coming along. I have no idea what the fabric is, but it's a beautiful hand dyed, and I worked some on her hair. And look at that. She's so pretty. She is one of my favorites. And I think she's also one where I'm not going to have to kind of make up stuff. Because I know some of them, they kind of go to the edges, and I don't want, if they don't have, like, if they have a straight edge, like, we took a picture of them and then we cut it off at the bottom, I'm going to add in what I think the fabric should do at the bottom of their dresses. So, because I am like that. I am weird like that. The next one that I have here is Christmas Tree 2011. I am doing this 1/1 on a very small count. This is a 32 count tarnished silver by Lakeside Linen. Look at the itty bitty bit of a tree that I have started. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do for this, for the beads. Because there are 3 colors of beads, but there's a lot of beads for like that whole garland area. So you could do French knots. Could do French knots. I don't know that I want to do French knots, but we'll come to that. That is a future decision for future Kathy, not current Kathy. The next one that I have is this one. This is on a Fox and Rabbit linen. It is one of her free patterns, the something peacock. So I had been doing mostly white, but this last time I put in some color, so you can now see that there is more than just white on there. This is a 2/1 on the 40 count Ocean Air by Fox and Rabbit. So small count. It will be a smaller design. The next Mira that I have is the butterfly. This is a free pattern as well. I'm doing it on, I think it's 4/1 or 4/2 on a 22 count Janina. And that is what I have so far. So, making progress on the wing. that 4/2 really gives some heft to that stitching. It's thick. I like it. Doesn't feel quite like your typical cross stitch though, because it's so thick, because it's on a 22 count, so I've effectively made it an 11. I could probably have gotten away with a 3, but I ended up doing a 4. Just because, I guess, because that was how I decided to do it. So the next one that I have is another Christmas tree. This is the 2007 Christmas tree, which looks like this. And I'm doing it on a 32 count Belfast 2/1. 2/1. 2/2. 2/1. This is a linen. I'm not doing that 2/1. So there we have more of the tree putting in. So, doing a good job on getting my tree done. I have 3 colors in now, so I've done a new color every year instead of continuing on with other colors. My next one is an actual Mirabilia. This is Scent of Lavender, I want to say? Lavender Mist. So Lavender Mist, I'm going to be doing a color conversion on this. I'm converting her skin color, her hair. I'm going to be changing a lot of this to purples. But that's where I got on her hair so far. So just more hair was finished this last go round. It will probably take a while for this one to make any real progress because I'm only stitching on it like once a year. But hey, once a year is better than no times a year, right? The next, the next one that I have is one of her Patreon designs. This one is, I believe, Golden Lake, I want to say, and I realized that I have Golden Lake Swan. So that's the pattern. I have an error. I didn't count right. I'm gonna have to redo some of these things. So some of this blue is off, and I don't know how much. I'm gonna have to take it out, and I'm very sad about it. So it's in timeout. It's in timeout. Not that I was working on it a ton anyways, but I'm not taking that out for a little while. Because, yeah, so frustrating. The next one is a free one. It's Mia Mermaid, the 2017 Australian Mirabilia Retreat pattern. And that's what I've added to it. A little bit of skin. So we've got some skin, we've got some hair. It's a 16 count navy Aida, so really basic. I think I'll put Mirabilia. I might put Australia on there. I might change the year though to like when I'm actually completing it, since it says 2017. Maybe I should aim to finish it in 2027. And then all I have to do is change the 1 to 2. That's actually pretty brilliant idea. This might become a focus in 2027. Get that finished. That way I can put the 2027 on it and it will be fine. And it won't detract from the design. So this is the 6th annual Mirabilia Retreat pattern. And that's what I have on it so far. So we added in, I think, black. This is being stitched on a 36 count Lakeside linen and vintage copper. So if you don't know what it pattern looks like, it's like is it a mask? It's either a mask or a mirror, like really ornate. I'm not going to show it to you because you should go to the website and actually pull the pattern, because all I have printed is just the pattern. So I cannot show you what it is, and I am not going to edit this thing very much because it's going to be a giant video. So the next one that I have is Maidens of the Seasons. I have this is Maidens of the Seasons, I think spring and summer. So this is one, I think. I am stitching one of them on Toulouse by Jackson Fabric Arts. This one is, I believe, summer. So there's my small start on summer. And the other one I am stitching on Namur by, once again, Jackson Fabric Arts, and this one is spring. So, pretty sure it's spring. Yeah, it's definitely spring. So, that's those two. The next one to show y'all is spring. So this is Spring in My Garden. That bird is back. And I am stitching this on a very small count. 25 count Lugana. I'm doing it over 1. So 1 over 1, 25 count. So it will be a much smaller project. And look at that. I got the bottom. So I have spring started and the bottom of the box started there. So next time, if I want to, I can do something besides straight lines. We'll see. We'll see what I decide to do. But the nice thing about these patterns is there are no beads on them. So I can stitch them really small and I'm not going to have to compensate for that. Unlike the Christmas tree that I am stitching really small and am going to have to compensate for because it's just too small. Let's see. Grab these guys all. So, my next project that I have here is the Sea Merchant's Wife. And that is what she looks like. And I'm stitching this on Robin's Egg by Grace Knits Fabrics, and it's a 28 count linen, and just worked on her hair some more, so added a little bit more of her hair in. It's a really pretty color. Now, ha! I can see the hair through the fabric. So that is that project. The next one is Damask Roses. So this is one of the really early designs by Nora Parbat, and I'm stitching this on Shill by Picture This Plus. It's a 28 count Lugana, and wrong side. You want this side. So I got far enough over that I could start a little bit of her hair. So we have hair started. So, yep. Really pretty design. My next one is, which one is this? Mermaid of Atlantis. And on this guy, I really do love this color. It's Galway by Jackson Fabric Arts. And it is such a gorgeous, like, boxy, colory piece of fabric. It is gorgeous. So I worked on some of the borders, so you can see the nice seashell, and then it's coming across here. And I'm quite happy with it. I love the color. It is probably a little bit deeper than the green that it is on, but we'll see how those colors, I might have to adjust some of my colors on it just a wee bit, but we'll see. The next one is, which one is this? I'm not going to show you the pattern or picture, but this is Leilani, the Hula Dancer. It's a free pattern by Nora Corbett, and I'm stitching it on 28 count Lakeside linen in the color Midnight. So I added more of her hair. So we've got quite a bit of hair done on her. And folding things up properly. The next one that I'm going to show is Andromeda. This one I do want to finish in a somewhat timely manner because I really do want to play with the charting of the actual galaxy behind her. But this is Andromeda, and I continued to work on the rock. So there's my rock. We've got bottom border and rock, because why not? So I work some more on her, and then I have Bumblebee, which I added some of the fuzzy to. So some of my whisper, I have a chocolate brown whisper, and that's what I added down here. And man, that makes it thick. So this is a 2/1 for the DMC. I think I did 2/1 as well with the whisper. Maybe I should have done 1/1, but meh. Do I have more of it that I need to do? That's the other question. Because I did the DMC floss. Yep, nope, I have more that needs to happen. There's a bunch more for like the legs. What I think I might do is, so, right, that one's thick. And I think in the upper body, I'm also going to make it thick. And then I think for the legs, I'll go ahead. So that definitely has to be like a 2. I think I did a 2/1 for this. This is a 16 count lamb's wool Aida. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do 1/2 or 1/1 for the legs, but we'll keep the other ones at 2/1. My battery's about to die, so we'll go as long as I can think about this. The other one that I have is Spring Queen. This is one where I am going to end up charting more of her skirt later. But I didn't start at the bottom for that reason. I started at the top. And look at how much of her hair is done. Looks really good. This is in the color Buttercup by Grace Notes Fabrics. It's a 28 count linen. And I love it and want to continue working on it like every other piece that I have. And then here I have Ophelia. So Ophelia, I actually have focused on way more than any of my other ones. So she is done. She's got a good chunk of her done. So I have some of that, and then her very large, very beautiful skirt. Once I finish the bottom, like, it will get significantly easier, the top half, but the bottom half is definitely kind of a slog. There is so much of it. So that's where I am on Ophelia. And I'm going to pause here so that I can charge my camera again, so that I can talk probably. So there's some more projects, but I'm hoping that it will be less than the 2 hours I already have. So we'll be back shortly. And I'm back. Like an hour later. So I don't have too much in the battery, but it should be enough to get this done. So I was going through my Mirabilias that I worked on in May. And I think I have 2 more left. And then I have 2 more projects. And then we'll do the life update. And then I should be done. This is so long. Okay, so the next one that I have is... Ooh, darling, you need to go together. Yeah. So the next one that I have here is Royal Holiday, Christmas Queen, and she's gorgeous. And I am doing her on, I believe, Fiber on a Whim in the color Ivy. And I just worked more white, so not much more of her was done. And then my final Mirabilia project, I technically have 32, I don't have 31, but my final project is Stargazer. So, in Stargazer, I have a whole... I am doing this on a... Where'd it go? Okay. There it is. So, I have a needle minder that goes with it. It's one I made myself. It's an owl. Of course you can't see it. Well, you'll have to believe me, there's an owl painted on this particular bead pendant. And that is what I use as my needle minder, but it got knocked off. So this is what I have done on Stargazer. This is on Indie Ink by Jackson Fabric Arts. And I think I worked on this section. I don't remember. It's been a hot minute since I did it. But we're working on our skirt right now. So, yep. This one I actually started as a part of the Leap Year Sale. Leap Year Mirabilia Sale. Which, if I do finish, I'm not necessarily going to enter because the 2 patterns that were prizes for it I have already. So that's not... I don't want to take someone else's opportunity for those patterns. But that is the last of my Mirabilias. So, 2 more projects, and then we'll talk a little bit about life. So, I have a fully finished item. So I did a test knit. This is the brand. And I finished her. Yay! So, a really fun colorwork pattern up top. This is in one of the wools that I picked up at Joann's when they were going out of business. It's a superwash merino wool. I think it's the luxe one. Really gorgeous wool. It's got a really nice drape, and it is very, very, very soft. I could actually probably wear this next to skin, which is unusual for me in wools. It is a little bit bigger than I was expecting it to be, because I don't do things like gauge swatches most of the time, and I did not gauge swatch this. So my superwash did grow a lot during the blocking process. So washing and blocking, it grew a lot. So it is a wee bit bigger than I would ideally have it. But that leads us to my final project that is finished. And it is a big one. And I am so proud of it and happy with it. So I finished Long Dog Sampler's Fish and Ships. Look at it. It's so beautiful. That one is probably going to be my starting screen on this one. So this is on a banana oil fabric, and oh, the fabric is gorgeous. And I did this one with ecru and a little bit of diamante for a lot of the back stitching. So like in the lighthouse, the top of the lighthouse and the rays are diamante. Let's see here. Over here, we've got some like little butterflies and insects that are diamante. There's a couple of stars. So things that didn't really follow the ship and the fish part of it got put in diamante kind of as well. Oh, this took me about a year, a little bit more than a year, I think, to finish. But it's so pretty and it's done, and I'm so happy with it. So yeah, so what I plan on doing for this one, for fully finishing it, is going ahead and buying some stretcher bars and using the stretcher bars. That way as much of the fabric as I can will be displayed. Because I don't want to frame it, because that will, like, you're cut off at the frame, while with like the stretcher bars it'll go around the side of the stretcher bars, so like you get that continuous fabric. So as much of it can be displayed as possible. So that is everything that I can think of that I worked on in the last 3 months. So if you've stuck around, congratulations. You've watched a full feature film of my projects. Feel free to leave at this point if you don't want to hear a little bit about the life update that I was going to talk about, since I'm going to finally explain the reason why it took me so long. So, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I am a veterinarian, and right out of vet school I went to work on a PhD, kind of straight out. I knew I didn't necessarily want to work with clients. I really like the research aspect of veterinary medicine more than about anything else. So I went and I started PhD in 2019. I got hired at my current position in 2024. So 4.5 years into my PhD, I got hired here. So I moved. I had done all of the lab benchwork stuff for the PhD. I just hadn't finished all of the data analysis and hadn't written my final thesis. So I worked on part of it. I had a paper published about a year ago that was part of that thesis. But this fall, around December, I got a nice little email from my the program saying, hey, send us your justification for why you haven't finished, and finish it within like the next 6 months. Otherwise, this will be a problem. So I was frantically so in addition to that, like, I have a new boss, and we had just started like a new project that was kind of a pilot project for a thing. So the month of January was figuring things out. Month of February was like totally focused. February and March, I ended up focusing extremely so much. Like, I had started and gotten I had at least rough drafts for all of my sections sent by the end of January for the thesis, which my thesis advisor, who pros and cons, but perfectionist in some ways, so that meant that some of the stuff she didn't bother reading. She was like, it just needs to totally be changed. I was totally confused by it. And it's like, okay, that's valid but not helpful, right? So entirely true, probably, but I can't change it all. It doesn't give me a direction to kind of run in, right? That's what's wrong with you? That. And you're like, okay. Like, if you'd said, oh, the hair or that dress, you can change the hair and the dress. You know what that means. But if you just say that, it makes it really hard to make any type of change to it. So I was slowly but surely working on a variety of different sections. And then that kind of all got derailed in the second half of February and early March because my project that I was working on at work suddenly was taking up all of my time. So I was at work from like 8 to 7 a number of days. There were a number of emergencies that went on. I was working on Saturdays for 5 to 6 hours, as well as partially on Sundays. Occasionally I got pulled in on a Sunday and like blow up, right? So we get all of that done and taken care of at work. And then immediately I am frantically trying to finish my writing for my thesis because I had to defend it by the 24th, I want to say, of April. It was either the 24th, I'm pretty sure it was the 24th. So I had to defend it by the 24th of April, which meant that, like, I technically was supposed to get it to my thesis committee 2 weeks before that defense. That didn't happen. I got it to them roughly a week before, and we scheduled it like the week before the week of, in terms of when I was actually giving my dissertation presentation. I mean, I was editing my presentation the morning of, like 10 minutes before I actually gave it. So this was very much a like crunch, get everything done in time, and it should be fine. So yeah, I went and I sent all of those things to my thesis advisors, drove from here to Louisiana. So it's roughly 2-day drive, right? So I was at work for half of the day the Wednesday, because I did a Wednesday, Thursday drive because I was presenting on Friday. So I drove halfway on Wednesday after work. So I worked like a half day Wednesday, drove to Arkansas, because why not make my life more complicated? It was actually kind of fun. It was nice to do that. But like halfway through I was like, okay, so when I'm trying to get all 50 states, and I'm getting pretty close. I'm a lot closer now than I was 2 years ago. So I've done Alaska. I've done the whole West Coast, done all of the Southeast. I've done most of the Midwest. I've done a chunk of the Northeast, a couple of states in the Southwest. So like right now we're kind of picking and choosing. So like, let's see, what do I have left? Wyoming I haven't been to, Montana, Idaho, Utah, New Mexico, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, North Dakota, Kansas. So like I have spots here and there. So that actually falls into this. So in addition to all of this that was going on, I also had to go to North Carolina in early March, or mid-March, right? So end of February, beginning of March, totally slammed at work. As soon as I finished with that, like finishing that up to the day before I'm leaving to go to North Carolina, because I'm going to be driving to North Carolina for a long weekend and coming back. So I finish that up. I drive to North Carolina, which is a 2-day drive when I'm doing it by myself, because it's 16 hours and I can do about an 11 to 12 hour trip. I cannot do a 16-hour trip by myself. That's just not even gonna try. So I hadn't done Kentucky. So halfway through I was like, hey, I'll drive halfway, I'll get into Kentucky, and we'll do the Churchill Downs, because I love horses, as you saw with all of my horse projects. So I love horses. That's obviously a very horsey thing to do. So I went to Churchill Downs. It was really neat. So that my rule for like finishing a state is I have to do something in the state. I can't just go to the state or drive through the state and have it count. Because I had done that. Like, I've driven through Kentucky before on my way to North Carolina, but I hadn't stopped and done anything in Kentucky. So in order to get Kentucky off, I had to do something in Kentucky. So we went to the royal we went to Churchill Downs. I went to Churchill Downs, and got Kentucky off my list, and North Carolina, and then back. Finished my thesis, kind of the same deal going down to Louisiana. It's a 16-hour at the shortest. I took a slightly off, not the shortest route, because I was going to do Arkansas in the middle. So on the way down, I went and I stopped in Arkansas. I walked a little bit around one of their state parks. Beautiful state park. Would love to go again. Looks like they have a lot of state parks in the Ozarks. Something to do in the future. But I've done Arkansas now. Yay. Finished my drive down to Louisiana on Thursday. Presented on Friday. Rested a bit. Did whatever I wanted to do on Saturday. Sunday, I started the trip back. So I went to church in the afternoon on Sunday, and then did a 8-hour, 9-hour drive up back to Arkansas. Only this time I was at the very, very edge of Arkansas, because guess what? Arkansas and Oklahoma are right beside each other, and I hadn't done Oklahoma either. And there is a state park that is 10 miles across the border into Oklahoma. So I stayed in Arkansas and then went to that state park in Oklahoma the next morning. Which was really neat. They filmed, I think, where the red fern grows there. So, neat state park. It had a waterfall. So, I was super happy about it. A very short hike, but I got to go and see the waterfall. And then I drove back home and finished up my trip. Then I had to finish doing all of my edits for my thesis, getting all of the paperwork in on time, and I've just received confirmation that my thesis is published now. It's on ProQuest. So I have a published thesis. They are printing my copies of it that I will give one to my parents and keep one on the shelf just to say that I have it. So yes. So I have graduated. I have now 2 doctors, right? Yay! I'm a DVM PhD. Oh, it's done. I don't have to worry about it anymore. It doesn't take up any more of my time. In part, some of that is why there's so much stitching that's happened, because it's also been freedom! I no longer have other concerns with my time. It's totally taken by something else. So that happened. In addition to that, I interviewed for a potential promotion at work, got the promotion position, not necessarily the promotion yet, but I got the position that has the promotion potential. So that happened in there. So I've been very, very busy, hence no filming, and I anticipate to be pretty busy at least through August, because Thursday I'm going to be driving. Well, I'm not going to be driving. Someone else will be driving me up to the Crow Creek Reservation. We're going to do that service project again. One of my coworkers is actually coming with me this year, so that's really exciting. If you follow me on Instagram or happen to have seen that and donated, thank you very much. That helps a whole lot. We met the goals that we had for the fundraiser. We actually exceeded it by a little bit, so that was really exciting to see. So, fundraise, we're going to Crow Creek, so that'll be taking up this weekend. As soon as I get back from Crow Creek on Tuesday, I'm actually going to be driving back to Kentucky to do a thing with my sister and my mom and a friend, and then I drive back. And then I'm here, and it should be fine for a little bit. So my parents actually are coming to visit me for 3 weeks, starting at the end of July. So I get back kind of end of June, and then I have 3 weeks in July, and then my parents are here for 3 weeks. So I am doing my extended cleaning. Let's call it that. Extended cleaning, where I start cleaning because I know that I'm going to have someone here. We start this process a month and a half in advance. 2 months in advance, maybe 3. Because I know that I will get distracted by side projects. Like, so when I visited North Carolina, I'm slowly taking all of the things that I have left in North Carolina here. But once I get them here, I have to figure out what am I going to do with them. Because some of them I've replaced or added to, some of them, yeah. And space, right? So I had a stack of books. And I currently still have a stack of like DVDs and music CDs that I have brought. And are in my place. They just need to be put away. So, I had a stack of books, and I knew I needed to put the books away, but I don't want to put the books away until I've put the books into this app that I have that keeps track of my entire library, because I have found myself buying duplicates of certain books. And I don't want to have duplicates of books. It's not helpful for me. It just takes up more space. I have a whole stack of books, which, hey, if you are looking for books and would like a random grab bag of my doubles, I'd be happy to mail them as long as you pay for shipping. Anyways, so that went on, and with that, yeah, so I end up with these side projects, kind of like my side thoughts as I'm talking to you through this. So side projects happen, which means that like the cleaning takes longer. Because yes, I could throw all of the things in the closet, and I will do that once it hits like a certain time point. It's like, okay, it just needs done. Like it's 2 weeks out. They're coming. I just need things put somewhere so that they have a place to stay, so that I can vacuum all of the places that I can dust. I should probably dust. This is why my apartment only gets dusted like once a year. Likewise, vacuuming, sweeping happens a little bit more frequently. Anyways, side quest. Yeah, so all of the cleaning happens like right before people come, because I don't like cleaning. Cleaning is my least favorite. Like, if I were to do the things I like, I would cook. I enjoy cooking. That is fun for me. I enjoy baking. I don't enjoy cleaning. Cleaning is my least favorite activity, and so it's like pulling out teeth. And I don't want to do it. So we have to give ourselves lots of time so that we can do the side quest, so that we can actually get the thing done, instead of just throwing things in the closet and then having no idea what happened with all of the stuff when I have to pull it all out again. In like a month after all of the people have left, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I was working on that project. Where is that project? Oh no, I've lost all of the pieces. that is how I have one project. I think I have all of the pieces again. I just need to remember where I put the pattern, where I got the pattern from, so that I can actually finish that project. Yeah. That's a multi-year project at this point. Because I had something like that I had cleaned, and I misplaced a piece, and I refused to re-knit that piece because I knew I'd knit it, and because I'd already knit it, I was not knitting it again. I did find that piece eventually, but it took moving to find the piece again. Yeah. So, my parents will be coming, and then after that, I think I run out of major plans. So hopefully life will slow down. Well, while my parents are here, I'm also, like, I need to register and pay for exhibiting at the state fair. Ooh, I should do that tomorrow because I'm not going to do that today. Today I will be lucky to get this video up. Because I'll plan on entering stuff in the state fair, and I think I'll have to drop stuff off while my parents are here, but they're going to be here through the state fair, so they're going to also come and see some of my stuff in the state fair this year. It'll be fun. So once my parents are done and state fair is done, which means that I am going to have to like do some framing and stuff and finishing, as far as I know, most of my plans I think disappear. So hopefully the second half of the year is a little bit slower than the first half has been. The first half has been very, very, very busy. And it's felt like an eternity and like a flash, both at the same time. Time is weird. So that is my life update. If you have made it this far and you have watched this entire thing, I think I am going to do a giveaway. So, if you are still here, and so I did purchase the fish and chips pattern. This isn't a digital pattern, this is an actual like printed pattern. I have misplaced one of the sheets, but it has all of the pattern pieces. I have all of the sheets with the pattern on it, and it is not marked in any way, shape, or form. So, if you would like the fish and chips copy, in the comments box, or in the comments, please use the word fishy. I just want to see how you do with that word. If you'll just throw it in as a like blanket comment, or if you'll manage to incorporate it somehow, like something fishy's going on. So if you include the word fishy, I'll do a random draw. Not too many people watch this, so I think your chances of getting the pattern are fairly high if you are actually interested in that pattern. So I will ship it anywhere. United States, international, doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and ship it anywhere. But you do have to be over the age of 18 because you're going to have to give me your address so that I can ship it to you. And with that, I think I have hit the end of the things that I need to update and talk about. So, if you enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You have endured. Actual pictures of all of this stuff. Since I didn't put it away, I remember to not put it away. That way I could get pictures of all the stuff. So pictures of all this stuff will be following this if you were interested in seeing some of the things a little bit closer and a little bit more in focus. Because, as you could tell, I was struggling a little bit with the camera. So, like, subscribe. If you want to stick around, you can watch the slideshow after. Other than that, I don't have anything else. So, hopefully I will see you again in early July. Yeah, early July. So in the meantime, have a good evening, have a good day, have a good week. a good weekend, and I will see you hopefully soon. Bye!